In this module, we will cover the relevant components of each system, the indications that determine status, useful service times, and dispatch limitations. The -8 Q400 has three separate categories of oxygen systems: a fixed oxygen system to meet transport category aircraft supplemental oxygen requirements for flight deck crew members, a portable walk-around supplemental system for flight attendants and a limited number of passengers, and the 4 protective breathing equipment units that provide crew members life-sustaining oxygen when there is a fire or smoke emergency. The fixed oxygen system for the flight deck provides oxygen to the flight crew and the observer. Each position has a dedicated full-face oxygen mask equipped with a microphone and a diluter demand regulator. The portable walk-around oxygen cylinders are kept in the cabin. One is normally located in the forward emergency equipment closet. 2 cylinders are located in a floor bin on the aft draft bulkhead behind the last seat row. Each bottle is equipped with 3 masks. Protective breathing equipment units are co-located with the portable halon fire extinguishers. One is on the flight deck in a compartment on the cabin bulkhead behind the first officer's seat. One protective breathing equipment unit is located in the forward emergency equipment closet. Click on the protective breathing equipment to see other locations. 2 protective breathing equipment units are located in the aft draft bulkhead on the cabin left side behind seat row 19. The oxygen system is designed to provide oxygen to the flight crew and 10% of the passengers during a 4-minute descent from 25,000 to 14,000 feet. The system is able to maintain oxygen flow at 14,000 feet for 116 minutes. The flight crew's oxygen masks are supplied from a cylinder mounted in the lower right front equipment compartment that has a capacity of 1.42 cubic meters. The cylinder is mounted horizontally with the gauge and tubing at the aircraft's forward location. The pressure gauge on the cylinder shows the oxygen cylinder's pressure. Overpressure relief is provided by a green burst disc. The disc is located on the right, slightly aft of the compartment door, where the oxygen cylinder is installed. A flight deck oxygen pressure gauge is located on the right side console on the first officer's side. The gauge is illuminated by side panel light controls. The gauge has several markings to indicate the status of the bottle. The red arc is from 0 to 200 psi. The green arc indicates the normal operating range from 200 to 1,850 psi, and the yellow arc is the caution range from 1,850 psi to full scale. This range indicates that the oxygen bottle pressure is over limits. If the valve on the oxygen cylinder is closed, the available oxygen pressure is reduced to atmospheric pressure, even though the co-pilot's side console gauge still displays cylinder pressure. The inline pressure indicator is an important item to check during your mask pre-flight. The inline pressure indicator in the oxygen mask line is red if the pressure is too low. The indicator shows green when correct pressure is present. 3 quick donning oxygen masks are mounted on the aft flight deck compartment bulkhead. The masks located outboard are for the pilots, and the mask inboard on the right side is for the observer. Each mask is plugged into its dedicated outlet. The observer's mask is supplied from a dual outlet on the first officer's supply. Each mask contains a microphone, and the associated microphone jack is co-located with the supply hose connection. The boom mask switch on the Audio and Radio Control Display Unit, or ARCDU, must be in the mask position in order to communicate through the mask microphone with the mask on. Each mask has a rotary control knob that is mounted on the front of the mask. The knob allows for 3 oxygen delivery selections. These selections are normal, regulated dilution of supplied oxygen and ambient air with variance for cabin altitude; 100% supplies 100% oxygen; emergency supplies 100% oxygen with positive pressure. Note, in this position, oxygen will flow continuously and as a result rapidly deplete the system. The diluter demand regulator rotary selector has 2 index markings for position selection, a small triangle on the forward side and a solid line on the top of the rotary knob. The emergency position provides 100% oxygen at a positive pressure. If a fire extinguisher is used in the flight compartment, all crew members must wear their oxygen masks with the emergency position selected. A set of harness inflation buttons are located on the mask front on either side of the regulator. These buttons are used to grab the mask. Pressing the red inflation buttons inflates the head harness with oxygen pressure. When the button pressure is released, the harness deflates to fit the pilot's head. Should there be any difficulty in breathing with the mask on, check the flow indicator to see if it is red. Check to ensure the supply line is connected properly, because when the oxygen flows freely, the indicator is green, and if there is no oxygen flow, the indicator is red. Full-face oxygen masks are approved as protective breathing equipment. The portable cabin oxygen consists of a minimum of 3 cylinders, which are used in the event of a cabin depressurization. Each cylinder has 3 masks stowed in a pouch connected to each bottle. One cylinder is kept in the forward draft or emergency equipment bulkhead, and 2 cylinders are located in the cabin aft draft bulkhead and floor bins. Normally, the aft cylinders are on the aircraft right side. Some operators have installed additional cylinders in the aft right drawer. The walk-around portable oxygen bottles include a carrying strap, an oxygen regulator and valve, 3 reservoir bag-type masks, and a mask stowage bag. The oxygen cylinder valve is opened after passengers have donned the masks. The cylinder has a continuous flow regulator. An optional first aid oxygen is available to aircraft operators. If they are carried on the airplane, these first aid oxygen bottles are located on top of the floor bin, aft draft bulkhead, behind the last seat row. The first aid oxygen bottle has one oral nasal mask with a connect hose and an inline pressure indicator. The first aid oxygen has both high and low flow outlets, whereas the portable walk-around bottles use only a low flow outlet. Masks are normally connected to the high flow outlet. 4 protective breathing equipment units are located on the airplane. One is on the flight deck behind the first officer, mounted to the bulkhead. 3 protective breathing equipment units are in the cabin. 1 protective breathing equipment unit is in the forward equipment closet, and 2 are located in a floor bin on the aft draft bulkhead behind the last seat row. The protective breathing equipment unit is a self-contained portable breathing hood with a chemical oxygen generating unit. The canister supplies a minimum of 15 minutes of oxygen depending on user's activity and demand. Initial oxygen output fills and purges the unit upon hood donning and activation. Protective breathing equipment units are stored in sealed metal compartments with metal doors having a small window to check the seal. The protective breathing equipment hood is in a vacuum-sealed pouch within the compartment to protect it from contaminants and moisture. Click on the sealed compartment to see extraction of protective breathing equipment. To use the protective breathing equipment, the crew member would have to pull the door from the compartment, remove the sealed pouch, then pull the pull strip to open the pouch. The hood is yellow with a clear see-through panel on the front. Communications are possible using the interphone or radio while the hood is on through the hood mask. The protective breathing equipment seals around the crew member's neck after it is donned to protect against fumes and gases while sustaining a self-generated oxygen supply. When donned, all hair must be contained within the mask. Pulling sharply forward on the hood side straps activates the O2 canister. Pulling aft on the straps seals the hood around the crew member's neck. Hopefully you will never have the occasion to require use of protective breathing equipment, but if you do, it will protect you from incapacitation due to the lack of oxygen or smoke inhalation. Should you ever use protective breathing equipment, be sure to brush your fingers through your hair after removing the hood to remove residual oxygen. This prevents possible hair ignition should you still be in vicinity of heat or flame. There are dispatch limitations attached to the oxygen system. These limitations are indicated on a placard located below the oxygen cylinder. The limitations for the crew oxygen cylinders are depicted on this chart. There are also limitations attached to the passenger oxygen system. The passenger portable oxygen bottles must have a minimum of 1,600 psi of pressure per cylinder. For the first aid oxygen bottles, the limitation is 1,650 psi of pressure per cylinder. This concludes the oxygen module.